Sausage.
Hello, everyone. This is Attack the Backlog, the podcast where I, Mark Kuznez, tries to make a dent in their backlog one game at a time. This episode is all about Wreckfest, a racing game where, you guessed it, you're gonna wreck it. To quote my favorite Ralph, I wanna wreck it. And wrecking you will do. I played this game quite a bit when it originally came out. I was surprised to see how much progress I made when I booted it up and had to delete my online data and the data stored. Well, I can't delete my online data because I played on Xbox, but in order to reset my progress for the purposes of backlogging, I had to delete my locally saved file, go offline, boot the game up, play a little bit so that it would create a new save file, then go back online. And when it asked me, hey, do you want the cloud data, the cloud save, or do you want the locally saved data? Which one do you want? Tell us now. We're going to overwrite the other one. And I said, give me that local save, baby. Give me that local save because I'm starting from scratch. And start from scratch I did. But when I originally played the game, I enjoyed it, but I was a bit surprised by how little or how straightforward of a racing game it was. I was expecting a game that was very much all about wrecking. All about wrecking, and not a game that was just a traditional racer that happened to have exceptionally good wrecking. Not I don't need to keep saying wrecking, but damage engine, an exceptionally good damage engine, and very good physics. But that is what Wreckfest is. It's not a flat out successor. It's not even Burnout in the sense of that being very. I would argue that the Burnout series is more about wrecking than Wreckfest. Wreckfest is just a dirty, grimy, more I don't know, it's a grungy type of racing game where you're driving in these more rally-esque courses. And yes, there are destruction derby events and some wild races where you're driving on sofas or in buses or on not little lawnmowers. I mean lawnmowers. I was trying to think of what else there were, but they have some goofy events like that where you are the racer and you can see racers flying off their cars when they get hit or their vehicles. And those are fun. But at its core, it's just a traditional kind of rally ish racer, but in these destruction derby esque cars, a lot of hot rods and stuff like that that are maybe built up to take damage, have bars all over them, or remove components to make them lighter, less prone to damage because things are, or just avoid certain damage like removing the brake lights and so on. But at its heart, it is a traditional racing game where you're doing lap races. And when I originally played it, expecting something else, I was disappointed, even though it feels good as a racer. The racing mechanics, the racing engine, it feels good. It is a good feeling racer. It just wasn't what I was expecting. So I didn't like it at the time. Coming back to it now, many years later, because I was surprised to see how old it is. I think it's been a while. And the sequel recently came out in early access. Can't speak to that in any way. I don't know how they've expanded, changed on the original. But coming back to it now, wanting a break after The Last of Us Part 2, just I wanted something light and casual. I had a really good time with it. It's got its issues still, but knowing what the game was this time going into it, I had a really good time with it because again, as a racer, it feels really good. I think the balance of traditional racing to destruction derby events is fairly well balanced. Because I wouldn't want, as fun as destruction derbies are to participate in and watch, because you get to see the engine and all that. You get to really appreciate the destruction in the game, and they're silly, over the top. Cars are flying all over the place, crashing into each other. They're not the most fun to actually play. They're kind of, I mean, they're just cars in a circle ramming into each other. And then when you get down to the last few, it gets really annoying trying to get the last one. It's like, will you stop running away from me? I'm trying to do a head on with you and you're just backing up. Can we just hit each other and get this over with? I don't care if I win, you win, doesn't matter. But the balance is nice. And the way the game is structured is just a handful of different championships. So you have your kind of low end championship all the way to the big one. And when you are participating in events in each of these championships, you're earning stars. I think it's primarily based on your placement through the events, because an event could be a single race or a bracketed type of tournament race, or just multiple races stringed together. And you continue if you place high enough. In some cases, you might have to win, but you're earning stars, and when you hit a certain threshold, you'll unlock the next championship, and so on and so forth. And so I did beat the game as you can, got credits to roll, but I cleared all the championship as much as they needed to be done. Didn't get every single star. And then there's also, for the people who want to keep playing it, there is a nice bit of season pass type things. Not a season pass that you can purchase, I don't believe. It's just seasonal content that they change every few months. I'm not sure, but they have daily events that you can earn currency with, specific currency with, weekly events, and season long events. And you earn this currency that you can use to purchase special versions of vehicles, and maybe some vehicles that are only purchasable, because some of them are kind of just, here's this vehicle, but a cool skin that is bespoke, not something you can make on your own. Because there's a bit of car customization, but it's light, it's basic. But I like that system. It's a nice way to keep people playing the game, keep it on their hard drive, and doesn't feel overly. There are no microtransactions that I was aware of that I saw. So it's a way to keep people invested in a game without nickel and diming the hell out of them, which I like. But in terms of the game, I really, really liked it. I think it excels when the tracks are designed in such a way that you'll have a lot of cross streams where either it's a figure eight, or there was one course that's kind of on a regular track, but instead of it being a solid circle, complete circle, at each of the two dead ends, well, at two ends, it dead ends and has a little loop, and that causes a lot of hecticness. The fact that there will inevitably be cars that fall behind, so that in these kind of figure eights and dead end loop type courses, you'll have cars that are going one direction and you're going the other. So there's plenty of room and potential for head on collisions. Those are great. There was one in particular that had this giant loop that you go on, and ways where cars could fly over ones, or you can choose, do you want to do a jump? Do you want to stay on the ground? And that can lead to a lot of carnage. When you're driving on those types of courses, the game feels incredible. It's so much fun. It's hectic. It's scary. It's thrilling. It's nerve wracking because you could be in first place, but then the car behind you gets ahead of you because you get into this side swipe collision and so on. Those are great. But there are also a lot of just plain, very much so feeling like rally courses that are in forested areas, not the forested areas. Like there are a specific type of forested areas, but in forested areas. And those aren't great. Any course that doesn't have some potential for either head on collisions or side collisions, they're pretty dull because even though it does feel good as a racer, when so much of the fun comes in the destruction engine and the physics and the potential for collisions, when that is removed, it's not it's not that it's just it's fine. It's fine, but what the game excels at, what the game is really pushing, the whole point of it being called Wreckfest is gone. There is also a challenge side of the thing where in each race you will have a specific challenge to go after that you'll earn extra not not points with not stars because I don't think you get any stars with these, but you get it's just a way to fully complete an event essentially. And these could be anything from spinning out three opponents, destroying, completely wrecking three opponents, winning or completing a certain number of laps in first place, finishing a race by at least 50 meters, and so on. And while I think having these challenges is nice, if you really want to 100% the game, it gets frustrating in the sense that it forces you to play a race in a way you otherwise wouldn't. So if you're just doing an event that is traditional races and you're trying to wreck your fellow opponents, you're going to play in a very different way, or you're going to amp up the destruction engine to intense or whatever it is. Because there are four different modes. You have normal, which feels very much so just like cosmetic damage. Then there is maybe extreme, realistic, and intense, something along those lines. And when you put it up to the highest one, you're basically your car can't function within a hit or two. It's just completely destroyed. I do love to, especially in the destruction derby where you see the damage engine highlighted the most. Your car that is a long sedan type car or a long muscle car. By the end of it, you're just going to be this tiny box that is just the frame of your car that is like the roll cage that is protecting your driver. You're just going to be this smush thing, and it's always funny seeing that the aftermath. But with the challenges, it forces you to play the game in a way that isn't fun because now you are trying to do things that go against what you're actually trying to do. So you're in a race and you're trying to win, but you get ahead of the pack, say you're in first place and everyone's behind you. Well, if you have to wreck a certain number of opponents, now you have to slow down, let cars pass you, and then constantly try and damage them. And I find that increasing the damage engine for those, if you want to do that, is the way to go. There's also a very limited difficulty option that is just, I think, three difficulties, which is like normal, hard, and harder, just something along those lines. But the limited difficulty options I found a little frustrating. They're, I guess it's not separate, but you have the AI difficulty, and then I guess you would also have your accessibility options, your assists, and the damage engine all separate. But no, I think it was amateur, intermediate, maybe, and professional, something like doesn't matter what they're called. But I found there to be I just wish there was more granularity, more wiggle room with the difficulty because I think amateur is a little too easy And intermediate is not, it's more challenging than I would like in terms of just wanting to make sure that I am able to progress through the championship and unlock the new ones and so on. So I stuck with, because I was also not looking for a super challenging time. I just wanted to have fun. So I left it at the lower difficulty, and that was pretty all right. It definitely helps depending on your car and the stats you have it at. But I would love to see in the sequel, because I genuinely enjoyed the majority of my time with the game. I had a really good time with it. And like I said, it works best when the courses are designed in a way to make crashes happen, where it's on you to try and avoid crashes, and you have to be aware and know your surroundings. But what I would love in the sequel, because one of the other issues with Wreckfest itself, the first game, is that there are a lot of courses. I was surprised. I scrolled through the entire list, and there might have been some reverse courses too on there, but there were a lot of courses, but a lot of them look very, very similar. So I would like to see in the sequel, whether this is what they're doing or not, is a greater variety in the courses. So just more environments, more locations, more parts of the world. Give me some Japan in there. Just give me a lot of different variety and not just these dirt roads surrounded by a lot of trees, which is what a lot of the game is. It's either that or actual on course like speedways and whatnot. So I would like that. But then being it called Wreckfest and all of that, just give us nothing but these figure eight courses, these cross courses, these super over the top mousetrap type, let's every which way and you can crash type course. Just make it so that every course has at least one part of it where crashes can and likely will happen, so that there is some kind of hecticness to a race, guaranteed to a race at least, because a regular traditional race can still have instances where cars do crazy things or something like that. But I would love it if every course had some way that some crazy shit could happen. Even though there's some instances where on a regular course, the AI loses its mind and you just have a car that is either way behind, so you lap it, but it's just going all over the place, or in some cases, AI cars would just start going the wrong direction. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Leave me alone. But I think Wreckfest is a really fun time, in large part because as a racer, it feels good. If you strip everything away, it actually feels good. And that's important. You can't just have wild physics, wild damage, and bad driving, and the physics and the damage and all that makes up for it. You can't. It needs to feel good, and it feels good. And whenever I would, because there's no rewind feature, which I love, even though I think it could maybe should be there for people who do like that, but I'm a fan of getting hit at that last minute and then the car gets ahead of me and wins the race and I have to start all over from the beginning, because that can happen. And that reminds me of my old days playing Gran Turismo on PlayStation 1 and other such games. I like that. I never use the rewind feature if I can in racing games, because I just have it so ingrained in me that that's not the way they're supposed to be played, so I don't play them that way. But I, again, appreciate the accessibility option being there for people who don't wanna, for instance, if we remember Test Drive Unlimited, you don't wanna do the race that you do, over the entire island that takes about an hour, and then at the last minute, somebody passes you and you say, "Oh, great, now I have to do this again for another hour." That doesn't sound like fun, right? But for me, I'd be like, "Oh, that was on me for letting it happen, or this crazy thing happened at the very end. Oh my God, that pisses me off, but I'm ready to go at it again. I have that kind of mentality. Not everyone does. So I like that. But I would also like to see in the sequel, again, this stuff could be in there, a bit more playing around with the destruction modes. A destruction derby is nice, sure, and when you throw in driving on sofas or stuff like that, it's silly and over the top, but if they had some more minigame type modes, if they did kind of lean into the flat out side of things, that could be fun. Or if they just, because Burnout is seemingly completely dead, if they had some kind of destruction crash mode, that would also be nice because the destruction engine is very, very impressive. So, yeah, I had a really good time with Wreckfest. It's a fun game, worth playing. I think it goes on sale regularly ish, maybe. But I played on Xbox, had a really good time with it, and yeah, if you want to wreck it, check out Wreckfest. Anywho, that is going to do it for this here episode of Attack the Backlog. Once again, I am Marcus Ness. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you enjoy this here show or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/PXS. There you can get access to a monthly Q&A, a private Discord channel, along with some fancy Discord roles, and the random drop on the Patreon here or there, depending on your tier. Or you could just support me to support me if that is your fancy. That is, again, patreon.com/PXS. In addition to the Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, and so much more over at pxsausage.com. That is the letter P, the letter X, sausage.com. But that is it. That is all. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoyed this here episode, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. But for now, adios, arrivederci. Bye,
It's go time, go daddy. It's go time.